Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome to your number one source for Native American television news. It's Native News Today. Along with Gerald Wofford, I'm Jason Salzman, both thanking all of you for being with us this Saturday. We've got a great show lined up, a historic show, a lot of history, 125 years of history. You'll learn a little bit more about that later on. But Gerald, great show for the fans today.
Absolutely. As we say, we appreciate you joining us here on another exciting show, Native News Today, here as we're winding down the month of September, getting into October, those fall color leaves and all that poetic stuff beginning to happen and everything, and temperatures cooler and everything, and we hope that you're safe and cool out there watching our show. And
with all of the Native American related activities going on this next month, you could maybe call it Red October with so many things going on out there, lots of great things happening, big events, Muskogee Hall of Fame, the
Council Oak
Festival. I mean, it's all happening out there, and lots of great things that we'll be able to share on this program too. So this is not going to be one of those months where you're going to want to miss some episodes. You're going to want to be tuned in every Saturday to see what we've got coming up.
You know, you're absolutely right about that, Jason. With the turning of the season, like we mentioned there, September and October, Council Oak ceremony coming up, the Muskogee Hall of Fame, that will be coming up as well. The 5 tribes will be holding their conference here in Tulsa. We'll be covering that. You mentioned the 125th anniversary. That's actually of the Muskogee Creek Baptist Church, Montezuma. 125 years. We'll have the story on that as well. And our film festival coming up. We'll be giving another plug for that. We'd really love for you to come out to enjoy those great Native American films. So Jason, just trying to cover it all.
Yeah, there's a little bit of time left for you if you're watching us now. This evening, there'll be a lot of things going on out there. Make sure if you don't have anything to do, get out there to Riverwalk Crossing, to Riverwalk Movies. The whole crew will be out, Muskogee Media. You can see this guy here, Gerald Wofford.
This guy might make an appearance.
You never know. You never know. But we certainly have had a wonderful time putting together the film festival. Lots of great entries and so many people out there. You know, I got to tell you, we're going to share also one of the award-winning entries also later in the animation category. And a little interesting trivia here. The guy that entered that into the contest was a man that really had a big hand in a lot of the things that we've done on Native News Today from back in the day at Creek Nation. Gary Robinson did lots of video work around here, so that's a neat little on the trivia board game, as you like to say, right?
That will be a part of it, and interesting how that comes full circle in a way. Gary Robinson entering one of his animation works. We'll be proud to show you that here a little bit later in the program. And also, too, well, a lot of the documentary archive footage we'll be showing, too, here as we roll along here on Muskogee Nation, here, Native News Today.
Bumakasam gadat, ibufanga, nage, adigat, bunhayadit omega, ajayididet omis.
Diosnok, that's true. Throughout the generations, our elders have taught us to preserve, share, and more importantly, protect the abundant natural resources we have here in Oklahoma. We are the original environmentalists and protector of these resources. The Muskogee Creek Nation believes tribal and state governments must work together to ensure future generations will have clean air and clean water as the ultimate legacy. What is good for Oklahoma tribal nations is good for all Oklahomans. Remember, tribes are truly the original Oklahomans.
Jahojef ket Paul Fixakodos. Ich kanagat tekobache mikusap kajokon man amikusap kajokodos. I'm able to preach in English and Muskogee, our language too, so there's not many that does that today. When I was growing up, that's all we had, Muskogee language, and that's all they preach. I could talk my language when I was small. When I grew up, I could understand what they were saying. We don't want to lose that, language, especially our songs, our native songs and the Muskogee hymns. We want to keep them.
And welcome back to Native News Today. Jason Salzman, Gerald Wofford. And as we mentioned, so many great things happening out in Indian country. On the political side, it's very important. Your native vote does count, and a great campaign happening right now.
Exactly right, Gerald. And as we talked about in the opener, a historic episode, Native News Today, a little bit of history splashed in all of our stories, and really, definitely this next one, because this past Tuesday, it was the largest Indian country voter registration drive in Oklahoma history that took place. People all across the state at different various tribes registering native voters, getting everybody out to vote. We had Ms. Sherry Ridge on the program last week talking about the voting number deficiencies and things that we needed to work on to get out more information and get more natives to the polls and be involved in the political process. This was our answer to that at the Muskogee Creek Nation, a rally held, voter registration drive at the Mound Building, and we were there to report on it and hopefully get some more information out about the whole political process. History being made today in Muskogee as all over the state, the largest Indian country voter registration drive is taking place. Different locations throughout the state include the Cheyenne Arapaho Nation, the Kiowa Nation, the Osage Nation, as well as right here in Muskogee at the Muskogee Creek Nation, where various tribal leaders and dignitaries will stand and speak at a rally this afternoon to convince everyone involved that every Muskogee vote counts.
It's very important for Indian people to get involved, to elect leaders who will make a difference for Indian people and Indian affairs in the future, and to get young people involved in politics and government, and to get Indian people to become future leaders in our government. I mean, whenever we have tribes and tribal organizations take part in getting people registered, getting the word out, I think more Indian people will become more involved, and it's a good thing. I mean, I was part of Native Vote back in 2008, and this effort this year has grown, and we're proud to see that, and I think it's going to get bigger. We've had a steady flow of people who may not have registered and are registering for the first time. We have people who thought they have registered, and we're double checking with our computers, checking with the state election board to see if they have registered, and some people haven't. So they are registering, so that solves that issue. And there are some who have confirmed that they have been registered, and so they know that they're good to go.
Well, this drive and this rally are so important because as Native Americans, we do have a voice. It may seem small on a larger scale, but we definitely have a voice and we have a right to be heard, and we need to exercise that right. I mean, not every Native American had this right to vote, since the country started, and I wouldn't want to let what somebody worked so hard for to go to waste. And the government, they work for us. They listen to what we have to say. And as Native Americans, we have a huge role in this country. I mean, we make up a large part of the reservations, everything. And so if we don't get out there and we don't tell them what we want, what we need, they're never going to know. And so by getting out there and voting, you're letting the Congress, you're letting the president, you're letting everyone know that you want to be heard and that you want government to work for you. You let them know what decisions you want them to make.
Well, Jason, as we mentioned, so many things happening as the fall season is upon us. And of course, you're in Oklahoma, in the area, high school football is so important. And in Sapulpa, that tradition certainly lives up to its billing there. The Sapulpa Chieftains off to a great start so far, only losing one game this season, but the man who brings it all home there to the home crowd and gets all the stats out there, make sure that everyone knows what's going on, the smooth voice, if you will, of Ray Rogers. Now, this man not only does the emceeing there at the Sapulpa football games Friday night, but he's also the Indian educator, the Indian Education Department, does a great job. I want to say he's been there probably at least 6 years. Probably get on to me here and say, I've been there 10. We've been there quite a long time, brought that program up, kept it going great. All the students really enjoy what he does, but a man of many talents there, also emceeing the football games there in Sapulpa. We got a chance to talk with him about that and just all the great things he's doing there in Sapulpa.
Lift on the carry. Number 3 on the stop.
Ever wonder about the man behind the voice over the loudspeakers at Friday night football games?
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome you to Collins Stadium tonight for our homecoming game against the Putnam City Pirates and your Sapulpa Chieftains.
In Sapulpa, that man is Seneca Cayuga Indian Ray Rogers.
I had a chance at some junior high games a couple of years back, and they liked what I did. And I've done a little bit way back in the day, back in my high school days, so I had fun doing it and just volunteered my time. And so when the opportunity came up to take a place up here behind the microphone for announcing the football game, so I decided I'd give it a shot.
When Rogers speaks, you can't help but notice his distinct voice. That's no coincidence. He's had plenty of experience behind the mic.
I've had a broadcasting career in my past careers. Spent about 13 years in the radio broadcasting industry. The last station I was at was KVOO, back the old time, 1170, and 98.5 was KVOO. But they since have sold to other people, and of course with new owners and everything, kind of personnel changes around. The old radio gig, they'd like that.
In addition to his duties on Friday nights, Rogers is also Director of Indian Education at Sapulpa Public Schools.
We've been here, me and my family, since 2003, so this is going to be my 10th graduating class. I wasn't in education in the beginning. I actually started, like I said, a broadcasting career, changed over and was in a golf career, got a superintendent's position, a golf course superintendent's position over at Goat Hill in Sand Springs. Stayed with that for about 10 years, and really got tired of the 110-degree weather trying to grow cool season grass, so I went back to school. Got a finance degree, so figured I'd go into in banking or something like that. But turns out I got in with a group called ACES, the American Indian Science Engineering Society. Being a non-traditional student, I still had contact with a lot of other Native kids, but you know, it really is surprising that there is a high number. I would say, I just saw some numbers earlier today, and it seems like it's about 30–40% of our college graduating students are non-traditional. So they really have a tendency to be older. They really get education when they're about 25, 28, right around in that area. So I kind of naturally fit in with some of the older students, and then we helped some of the younger ones actually become involved with ACES. It's a national organization with science and engineering as their main focus, but being a finance guy, I was more interested in the numbers, so I was treasurer and eventually became a regional representative for the national organization.
He talks with pride when discussing the success of Indian students at Sapulpa.
We've got them in the ping pings, the color guard, the band. You're right, in the football field. You know, academically we shine too. I think the last 3 out of 4 years we've had either the valedictorian or the salutatorian. So you know, our Indian students are doing really well. We show up really good on the tests. I know the NAEP numbers that are out shows Oklahoma Indian kids as a whole in the 8th grade testing has done extremely well. So we kind of carry that through.
Rogers says that being a man of many hats is easy because of his great support system.
Well, that kind of goes hand in hand. There's, you know, it's all part of the school activities and the things that we do. You know, the Indian education activities. I've got Harold Gossman's my activity coordinator. I've got 4 other tutors at all of our elementary sites, a tutor/teacher over at our middle school site, a great secretary, administrative assistant, Michelle Benning. So they really do all the work. I just kind of direct them and make sure the money's there in the Johnson O'Malley grant and the Title VII grant. So I do a lot of things outside of that as well, helping out with things like the Oklahoma Advisory Council and Indian Education. My tribe, the Seneca Cayugas, my chief, Leroy Howard, made a nomination, and I got appointed by Governor Henry 2 years ago to sit on that board, and we've been working down in Oklahoma City with the State Board of Education, and it's really been, you know, a good experience, kind of almost like tribal politics. You know, you kind of got to work the system to be able to get things done what you want to get done, but it's kind of like being back up here, you know, working within the system of the school district. Sapulpa is blessed with a great school district that they really work with our program, so they don't hinder us in too many ways. We have an opportunity to do a lot of the things that the community actually wants to do. So.
In Sapulpa, Jason Salzman, Native News Today. And thanks again to Ray Rogers there, and an interesting little story. Anytime we can see some of our native people out there doing interesting things, and always a story behind everything that you see in everyday life. Hey, that voice up there coming from the press box, there's a man, there's a story behind it. So great there, and keep up the great work, Mr. Rogers. Moving right along, the 125-year anniversary of Montezuma Indian Baptist Church. Gerald, so many thoughts and comments poured in the week leading up to this celebration of all the memories and family and everything tied into that place. There's so many things happened there over the years that people look back and remember that made up a part of my life. That's such a big part of my heritage and a love for that place. So we had to go out to Montezuma for their celebration.
Absolutely. I mean, it just reflects overall, I mean, the stability, the commitment of people to believe in something, and here it is still living today.
That's right, and we wanted to bring this to you. 125 years at Montezuma Indian Baptist Church.
This is a special day because it's the 125th anniversary. It's very special to me because it tells me that there's been a lot of faithful people come through here in that time, striving to do what God's called them to do. And, you know, we're not a perfect church by any means, but we're one that believes in the Lord Jesus Christ, who is perfect.
I do believe that our ancestors, our forefathers who started this church, had an aspiration, if you will, to continue, maybe not to see the 125 years, but that this church will continue to grow and continue to prosper and continue to share the word with the world that doesn't know who Christ is. Amen. Beloved church, we know that there's a lot of people still out there that don't know who Jesus Christ is. And I thank the Lord today that we've came from horse-drawn wagons and to nice automobiles, SUVs, I believe now they're called, things like that nature. And we've come from wood stoves to central heat and air. We've come from hauling water and cutting wood to microwave ovens and gas and hot and cold water in our restrooms, and back in those days we didn't have those things. So we've come a long way in serving Christ, and it's getting even better as we look around. You know, I'm thankful to the Lord today for Montezuma Church. I'm thankful today for your church. I'm thankful today for my church, because when we came up in this world, I'm not going to say that we were lost, but I don't think we were found either. I do believe that was because of the preaching, because of the singing, because if somebody prayed for you and I, we wouldn't be here today.
The young people, they watch what we do, we older ones, and they just carry on. They just work together on any occasion. They just all work together, and there's no arguing or anything. They just do what, if they see what is needed, they just go ahead and do what is needed. So it's really, we just all work together good and get along good.
As I was preaching last night, I make a statement many times that we're not the greatest congregation by any stretch of the imagination. We're just the latest in the line of congregations God has used here at Montezuma. And it's a church that, as I said, truly loves the Lord and is doing the best they can to do what God's called them to do, to please the Lord. But as to answer your question, this church was founded on the rock, the solid rock of Jesus Christ, and that's why it's withstood this test of time. Simply, it's plain and simple.
Well, as we mentioned before, this weekend is the first Muskogee Film Festival. We actually began Thursday night with our awards banquet. It's been continuing yesterday and today at the Riverwalk Movies there in Jinx, Oklahoma, the Riverwalk Crossing. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. You still have a chance to get out and see the evening session, so we really want to emphasize that you get a chance to come out. But Jason, we're going to give our watchers here a special treat. We're going to present one of the entries to our film festival. In fact, It won the best animation this year, but there's still more history to it.
Yeah, winner, winner, chicken dinner for this next entry here. As Gerald said, won in the animation category. But more importantly, who was the guy that put forth this entry? And that was Mr. Gary Robinson. Now, if you've watched Native News Today over the years faithfully, and we know you have, we know that you've seen some of Gary Rogers' work because a lot of our archive material from back in the late 70s, mid-80s, things like that, were done by Gary Robinson. You know, the stern voice, you know, this is Gary Robinson, unmistakable. And we have so many great relics, I guess you could say, video relics that he produced over the years here. And he was kind of, you know, the Creek Nations guy before us that did the videos and things like that. So it's neat to be able to see this come, like you said earlier, a little bit full circle to where Gary puts this entry in, he wins for animated feature, and it's great to be able to showcase it. And it is neat, though, to where that ties together. And he's done a lot of things, and I've never met the man, but we've seen a lot of his work, so it'll be neat to sort of have that all come together.
Well, in all honesty, Jason, I can say, I mean, I've met him one time.
Sure.
He came through, but a lot of the people that come out and you know, look at the archives, or they'll see something on TV and they'll say, "Man, that was my aunt," or, you know, great uncle, or whatever. You know, a lot of that has to be attributed to the work that Gary Robinson did, the commitment he made to documenting Muskogee Creek history and all that he did. And Jason, today, he lives in California. He's still involved with video, film production, and even as far as animation, with the submission to our film festival this year, the Native American Night Before Christmas is this animation that we will be showing you here shortly. But again, just all that he has done to preserve Muskogee Creek history, definitely our hats off to him.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Mr. Rogers. And here it is, the Native American Night Before Christmas winner in the animation category at the Muskogee Film Festival.
"'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the teepee not a creature was stirring, nothing crawly, nothing creepy. The moccasins were hung from the lodge posts with care, in hopes that old Red Shirt soon would be there. The kids were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of choke cherries danced in their heads. And I in my Pendleton, and Ma in her skins, had just cuddled up cozy against cold winter winds, when out in the camp rose a noise so humongous, I thought a wildcat had sneaked in among us. Up I jumped and ran through the clutter, threw back the flap, and made the lodge shudder. The moon and the stars in the night sky were blinking, like the headlight that shines on my '69 Lincoln. When what to my wondering eyes did show but an old wooden sleigh and 8 buffalo, with a plump little driver who was so well fed, I thought for a minute it was flying fry bread. Like thundering clouds these mammoths they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Harjo, now Redbow, now Chino and Soodle, on Tall Chief, on Jim Boy, on White Cloud and Serpohoodle. To the top of the trees, to the top of the bushes, he yelled, haul your fur and move your tushes. Like pine cones caught and tossed by a whirlwind and suspended in air by the magic of medicine, up to the lodge top, the bison they flew, with a sleigh full of commodities, and the old Indian too. Then in a moment they froze there in space, and I felt all the color drain from my face. I turned back inside just as quick as a wink, as down the smoke hole old red shirt did sink. He was dressed in red buckskins from his head to his foot, with beadwork and fringe. He really looked good. A medicine bundle he had by his side. On his back, a large bag made of buffalo hide. A headdress he wore as tall as a crown, made of white turkey feathers, all tipped in brown. His skin was as wrinkled as sun-baked earth, but none of these things told of his worth. He spoke not a word, but used sign language instead, and filled all the moccasin with toys and fry bread. And then, like smoke rising into the night, he gave me a wink and took to his flight. Up through the smoke hole, into the sleigh, awaken his team with a hearty "Hoka-hey!" And I heard him exclaim as they thundered out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all my relations, and to all a good night."
Okay, that's going to wrap it up for another great episode of Native News today, but in the spirit of the film festival award type of, I guess you could say, setting, we are going to do our best impersonation of the Oscars here. And Gerald, please present us with the envelope. We will now announce the winners in various categories.
But before that, without the exception, as you watch those award ceremonies, we're not looking at a cue card and
no.
Oh, we're glad to be here, and that we
exactly right. No cue cards, no teleprompters on this show. No.
And so the winners are.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gerald. Let's see here. Okay, in the category of documentary, we have The Language of Victory, Gary Robinson, first place. Yes, golf clap there. Second place, Looking for a Fancy Dancer, Mr. Harrison Lowe. Third place, Vanessa Adams Harris, Unheard Voices, Stalking in Indian Country. And those are our documentary award winners. Congratulations to all of those entries. Short subject, first place, Two Sisters. Second place, The Vision. So great job there. Feature, best winner there, The Unrest. Animation, as we said, Native American Night Before Christmas. College entry, Paranormal Investigators. Good to see the college kids getting involved and doing work there, and something to be proud of there. So great there, the list of winners. And
absolutely, congratulations. Jason, we do need to pay homage to another Muskogee Creek filmmaker who's definitely made his impact in the Native American cinema world, Mr. Bob Hicks, the winner of the short subject there for The Two Sisters. I believe at one time we did play a segment of that play that he did, that's part of the film production he made to enter into the film festival. Congratulations to him.
Very much so.
We actually had more entries from out of state than in state.
Great. That's a lot of people getting involved, a lot of people wanting to be a part of Muskogee media in this great thing. So we'll see it grow over the years, and I'm excited about that. Hey, if you didn't be able to get a chance to catch us on the television, you can always catch us on the internet. Creek Nation homepage, check out our story archive and our live stream. Check us out on Facebook or Twitter at Native News Guys, Native News Today. Take us out here, Gerald.
Absolutely. In the meantime, you all take care. God bless.
And we'll see you soon. All right.
Cardsman.
Cardsman?
Wild cards.
Second wild card spot.